Okay, hello everybody. So today I'm going to be forming Greater Hungary as the Kingdom of Hungary in Hearts of Iron 4. So let's begin. I have not done any test runs for this, although I have played Hungary before. So let's just get underway with the basics of assigning an army group, and there are no field marshals because of the treaty imposed on Hungary after World War One. And for focuses, we shall start with continue the Regency, and we will be going reinforce Horthy's reign, carrying on down to the Act of Defence, heading down the Seek German contacts route, and hopefully we should be able to get away with just not being fascists. It appears as though we do not have to be fascist. However, I'm a bit nervous as I, like I said, haven't completed any test runs for this, so we'll just have... Right, so now we'll continue with, now that we've completed continue the Regency, and as I said before, we're heading down reinforce Horthy's reign. And when we have done this part of the branch down to Act of Defence, we'll promote Hungarianism and regain our lost territories as part of the Treaty of Trianon. And I think then we will most likely head towards our economic path. I never do secret rearmament, as I don't think it's worth it unless you want the mobilization speed and ideology drift defense, which we don't really need considering we're not going to be gaining too much support, apart from, I believe here, which, yes, 10% fascist support. And that should be it in terms of other parties' support. So we'll just continue once I have selected a new focus. There we go. And now we will just wait until this focus comes to an end. Okay, so with this we have completed reinforce Horthy's reign, and we'll now pass Statuette 19. Seeing as Nicholas Horthy is ailing, it will be beneficial to pass Statuette 19 regarding establishing of a national council when the regent's seat is vacant, allowing us for the creation of a... I'm not going to pronounce that. That will pick out a new regent once our current one has passed away. Some may see this as attempted dynasty founding, but we are okay with that. So basically what this focus does is allows the monarchy to be brought back under Horthy and whoever succeeds him. So, with that done, we may now continue again. I haven't yet mentioned, one of my plans is to go for the achievement, assuming direct control. I'm going to try do this by joining the Axis, using the focus that I mentioned earlier here, and with that I will then just not join the war, and when World War II comes to an end I will be left in the Axis alone and assume control. So I haven't tried this, so I hope it will work, but yeah. So here's an important event if you were going to go brown ideology with National Socialist leaders. Zoltan Borzsomori, as I said, I was not pronouncing that for a reason. And if you were to want to go that path, you'd pick the bottom option, and it might still be a better option. However, I'm going to go with this for the extra political power and the reduction in their supports. And we haven't got long left on statue at 19 now, so soon I will be able to not only appoint an advisor, who I will go for, let's see, I'll go for Kalmon Darani. I'm not good with Hungarian names, and I'm waiting for Gombos to die so I can outlaw the Party of National Will, and while I'm waiting, I believe I will, yes, I will need these two focuses. However, wow, their democracy is higher than I imagined, actually. So I will go for restricting voters' rights now. So yeah. Also, another reason not to go down the secret rearmament is, and then negotiate the restrictions, is because in this branch you get the spur on Trianon and trauma, and then later on you get to renounce the Treaty of Trianon, which I believe on historical won't be disputed, as this is historical. So then I will begin to scale up my army, as these focuses all require, like this one for example, 120,000, 150,000 and 200,000. So it's best to get rid of the Trianon Treaty as fast as possible. So you could go down to rush down, negotiate the restrictions, because that's only 3 focuses. However, it's only leading to the replacement of the Treaty of Trianon and not the loss of it. So it's up to you whether that's what you want to do or not. And with restricting voters' rights done, I'm now going to utilise the National Unity Party to reduce communist and democratic support, even if there is no communist support, as not only will this allow me to move down to this, which grants some great buffs to your leader, you can also then, once Gombos should hopefully have died by the point that this focus is done, and if not, you may be able to complete the next focus along. But either way, I'm now importing steel, as I was meant to be originally, to allow for better production. And I thought you weren't able to... I might be thinking of this Bulgarian treaty. Ah, I was. Cannot train units. I thought that was in... I always mistake the two treaties, as I have previously said. So for now, let's just get 5 divisions on Budapest, even if we have no manpower available. I believe next I should like to go for... here we go. The Spanish Civil War kicks off. I would like to go for... let's see. We don't have enough civvies for that. 8. We could go for the Archbishop of Esztergom, which has some nice bonuses, and I would like them, and I would also like to replace Gyula Gombos as fast as possible. So when he dies, obviously, he will be replaced. But as of right now, he can't be replaced, so we're just gonna have to continue on. And wait for this focus to finish. Meanwhile, I haven't talked about the debuffs that Hungary starts with. Minus 15% political power gain. This isn't the worst, however it does grant fascist support. It is really the Treaty of Trianon that hits Hungary the hardest, with its army debuffs. And anyway, we can now start to reverse them. And let's see, Italy appears to be fumbling its war with Ethiopia. However, I would like to join the Axis, and thankfully they're not the leader. So I will join the embargo for the stability. And you may have noticed I've moved my army up to the border with Slovakia, and that is because after reviewing these paths, I have decided that I will most likely demand southern Slovakia or the Carpathian Ruthenia tile here first, and I will now go for the Mavag steelworks, I suppose they would be, which means I can now stop producing the tanks I'm not using, and instead produce more guns. And I'm hoping... I've never played Czechoslovakia actually, so I want to have a look at that focus tree. This I imagine will be their historical path. Well, this really doesn't seem like the best path. So we've got becoming a German protectorate, becoming a German satellite, or staying independent. And then they would also get more goals on both Hungary and Poland. No, they get the quite. I've seen this event as Germany before actually. The Czechs ask to split up Poland, and I believe they want the former Austro-Hungarian territories of Stanislaw and Krakow and maybe Katowice, but I don't know, as like I said, I've never played them before. And with that, Gombos is still not dead yet, which I'm actually surprised at, and I will take this focus for the manpower that I haven't looked at my manpower in a while. No, I will instead begin down my industry tree. See what is my... I am making 1.38 when I select a focus, so I believe I will go economic intervention. Because the political power I'm already gaining a lot of. And when I lose some of these debuffs, such as the gun... We shall see what to do now. So we're dealing with the MOVE, which is this, I believe. Yes. So we would lose political power, gain war support, even more war support, and even more anti-brown ideology support. This, I think, is the best path for us, as despite the good buffs, I don't know if the fascist support would be worth it. I will remove it, but it's up to you which you would like to go for. But I will also launch anti-brown ideology raids. And now I'll wait for economic intervention, then head back to my political tree. And my new divisions are actually ready. That is actually earlier than I thought. And now with Gumbus dead, I can now hire my next political advisor, which I think I'm already making enough political power, so let's have a look at my... I don't think the financial expert would help me in the short term. Neither would he. This one is a good politician and will disappear forever when you first go to war. But I will go with the captain of industry with Istvan Friedrich, I assume. And I'll take him, and soon we will have outlawed the Party of National Will. And then with that I'll spur on the Trianon trauma. And then renounce said treaty. And then I will begin to pass the Act of Defence and work towards joining the Axis. This focus that I'm hovering over here can be very powerful if you're prepared for it. I would recommend starting the Act of Defence and start to improve relations with Germany if you have enough political power to maintain that gain in relations, because it will allow your industry to receive a massive bonus, assuming you not only have the necessary relations but the resources to make it work. And I haven't actually looked at the Hungarian Air Force yet, so I'll merge that up and see what we're working with, which in other words is not a lot. And that will be the anarchists joining the war in the Spanish Civil War. And these borders are looking very straight. In fact, it seems as if the borders have barely changed at all. And I will actually now begin training some more divisions. That should be enough to take me up to a full army. Even if I do not have the manpower, I'm going to get 14,000 from this focus. So I can now renounce the treaty, bearing in mind I am also one disarmed nation, and I now have the manpower to fulfill the needs for these divisions and train these other ones. So while it may appear that I do not have enough manpower, I in fact do have enough. And I'm now wondering if I will launch some more anti-brown ideology raids. Not ideology, or whatever I was about to say. But as I said before, we'll begin the Act of Defence and improve our relations with Germany. And as expected, we now no longer have that debuff, and that is one of our last that is our last purely bad buffs, or calling it a buff isn't truly right. And we can now begin to hire political advisors and bypass secret rearmaments, which will save you 70 days unless you really wanted the bonuses. But yeah, for now we'll just continue to sit and gain some more manpower, as we've now moved up from disarmed nation to volunteer only, and continue down our focus tree. So now if we have a look at our relations with Germany, you can see they're 100. So now if you read what this focus says, if they have more than 75 opinion of Kingdom of Hungary, gain 2 off-map military factories and 1 off-map civilian factory. So that is what I will do. The MIOs you get aren't the best, as you might have already started to upgrade your own, such as this and this. However, I have not, because I have not done any military research, which I'm now realizing wasn't the best idea. However, that would also be the Marco Polo Bridge incident. So we're now getting some wars starting off in Asia. Meanwhile, Europe remains relatively calm. The world tension's rather low, and there has been no Anschluss of Austria yet. And that should be the formation of the Chinese United Front, if I'm not mistaken. And now I can actually begin researching with my industry. There it is, the Chinese United Front. Yes, currently it's missing Guangxi Fleet. And there are my new divisions, which let's get them on the front line. I'm not going to train anymore because I don't have the manpower yet to support keeping the army I currently have, let alone a new army. But also with those 10 divisions, I can now also demand Carpathian Ruthenia, which I actually mistakenly thought was southern Slovakia. It is this strip that is southern Slovakia, and this piece here that is Carpathian Ruthenia. But for now we'll seek German contacts, as we want to get into the Axis without joining a war, preferably. We just want to sit and do nothing. And when this focus is done, we'll invite German investors, which I'm a bit worried about because of the change in popularity of the Brown ideology. We'll then do joint aluminium mining company and then joining the Axis. And we can see that with this previous focus now completed, we've gained 2 military factories and 1 civilian factory. So like I said, the bonuses of befriending the Germans early on can be very helpful. So for now we have access to the Rheinmetall company, and we can now actually appoint a military high command. However, it's better to wait, I believe, as you can only appoint the one, and it's an Air Force guy, which, while I will probably build an Air Force, it will not be for a while, as I don't believe I have. Yes, I'll have to research a better airframe, and I will certainly not be building heavy tanks, but I will suppose go for fully cast turret and commander cupola, and then just continue on. And now that while I'm thinking of military, I should maybe appoint a field marshal. This guy will do, as he's both an infantry leader and an armor officer, so he'd be ready to lead whatever we had. And offensive doctrine, which might put him in the military high command. It does not appear that is the case, however. Oh well, we'll see what parties. 11. So what we'll do is we'll do anti-democratic raids to reduce their support even further down and secure the monarchy. And we can actually move up to limited conscription or partial mob, which is what I will do, to remove the debuff on producing civilian factories. Or at least I believe it's removing entirely. It is. And with that done, I want to rush down this, as I believe there's a check that, yeah, Germany has exploited us for their own personal gain. I want to try prevent them doing that as much as possible. But I suppose I'll put an aircraft into production. Nothing major, just to fill up the gaps in the Air Force while it's going. And also, while I'm on the topic of Air Force actually, I can begin researching the next one, and I'm also beginning military research. So I'll continue to do that. And recruit more divisions. I'll recruit 10 divisions, nice even number, and it should hopefully take us over the 200,000 requirement for Transylvania. It will. If I can do my maths correctly, which I hopefully should be able to. But for now we'll just have to see and wait. The saying is the other way around, however, it doesn't matter. And with that, I'll see if I can join the Axis. Our relations are still at 100. And they will be when this focus finishes. So with hope, I'll be able to join the Axis early on. And be able to get Burgenland off of the Germans or Austrians. I'm actually surprised that the Anschluss has not happened yet. But when I join the Axis, I'll see what they're up to. Who knows, they might even be doing Anschluss as I speak. And with that, I will promote Hungarianism and wait and see. Ah, here we go. Let's see. Their army is not yet big enough to do Anschluss. We might perhaps be able to demand Burgenland before the Germans can get Austria. Although that hope is probably misplaced. And I will now move up to limited conscription, and I'm not sure which doctrine I should go with actually. I won't be building tanks. I believe superior firepower is no longer the meta. I might go with mass assault deep battle, for the supply changes, because with all hope I shouldn't actually need to go to war. I just hope I don't misclick and accidentally do join the war. I just want to keep an eye on Angelus. The AI should be able to easily... there we go. They are now doing Angelus. So I will not get the Burgenland first. But my army should now be large enough and the relations good enough to the point that I should be fine. And that shouldn't be necessary, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And with Promote Hungarianism, I will now do reaffirm territorial claims, then Transylvania, as it's the largest piece of territory. And with that, any hopes of me getting the Burgenland from Austria has now gone, as now they're a part of Germany. So I have tried this before and the Germans refused to hand over the Burgenland. So I'm hoping this time, because I'm in their faction, that they'll say yes. However, I'm not holding out hope. Last time I had to go to war with the Axis over it, and the same for Slovakia. So I will start by demanding Transylvania, and I'm going to start building up my spy agency so I can't forget, and try something I have never done before. Try create collab governments for countries I'm not at war with, but my allies will be. I haven't a clue if this will work, and I have no doubt someone will tell me in the comments if they know, but for now let's disable allied battle plans because it's awful to look at, if I'm honest, and just continue. And actually have a look at what the German stockpile is like. Interesting. So the German stockpile looks decent, although mine is larger. I imagine they have less factories on guns. I can't see exactly what their factories are on, but oh well. Just knowing that they only have 10k guns will have to do. And I might even be able to take Burgenland. Here's hoping. And the same for Transylvania. I will do this and then ask Germany for help. I think it's guaranteed that they say no. So let's approach Germany. As I thought, we now have Transylvania and can reintegrate it slowly. And I will try to integrate it as fast as possible without going into negative PP. And with that, that is 2 steel, I believe, and 3 aluminium, and that's it. But the population should help us, and we are indeed on the path to greatness. And they're getting carved up even more by losing Dobruja to the Bulgarians. I suppose there are some advantages to having notifications on. We do. I just realised, looking at the logistics menu, I'm running a bit short on trains, and I'm being bombarded by notifications, so I will go for this next. And speaking of that, actually, I think I might have clicked the wrong one. Let's begin researching the Danuvia 39M, and in a week we shall be able to produce our better planes. I say better, the planes aren't yet complete. I need 2 more things, 3 if I'm feeling spicy, and that is Romania, or Transylvania at the very least, integrated, and some factories gained. I'll put another factory on trains, and I can't design a basic airframe yet, so for now just continue to build up my industry. And now this army can actually go on the Yugoslav border, as they're going to be next after I demand Burgenland from Germany. And I pray they give it up. I'm looking back on it now, should probably have prepared my industry so that can spiral while I'm demanding this new land. However, I'm a high 4 player, we don't think that far ahead. So, on keeping with demanding land, next up will be Czechoslovakia. And we'll see if they're also going for land. So it appears being in a faction helps, as we have now gained Burgenland, which I'm going to core. And I have the Allied Speech DLC, so I wish I'd disabled it for this video, but oh well. It appears I'm going to get Southern Slovakia anyway. So I have... Actually, I believe that is what I'm demanding now, yes. Rather annoying, but I can deal with it. And I always make the mistake of forgetting about that. So I'm hoping that for now I can get all of Slovakia to myself, because historically Slovakia was a part of Hungary until the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire after World War I. And I will demand full integration of Slovakia. And it appears that might have bypassed the focus, but world tension is certainly rising, and rather rapidly too. And I'll continue with my air research, and my country looks absolutely awful with its current borders. I think it would look better with a nice big chunk of Slovakia. And I can't forget about doing this. In fact, I believe, yes, I can now prepare a collab government on the Soviets. Like I said earlier, I have never tested whether this will work, but my hope is that the Germans can capitulate the Soviets. Although then I wouldn't be able to complete the achievement. I imagine they'd still find a way to lose somehow. Because in a war of attrition, the Germans will always lose. Unless it's democratic Germany with their faction containing all of Europe, then they're less likely to lose. Soon Slovakia shall once again be Hungarian. I'm hoping. I'll demand the Voyage of Edina next, because I don't know if they'll count Carpathian Ruthenia as part of Slovakia. But for now we shall see. They do indeed. And like I said, the border will look better with Slovakia, and that it does. And the Chileans have had an earthquake. Oh no. I should not have done all four. Oh well. It's only for, what, 35 days? I'll be fine. The people of Hungary can wait while I integrate Slovakia. And that are actually a decent amount of there's actually a decent amount of population in Slovakia. So I will instead turn this into a field marshal line and extend it all along the Yugoslav border. I do not wish to enter an offensive war, but if I'm forced to, I will. However, for now I would like to just keep expanding my industry. And my planes are almost done. In fact, I might go for this as well, but I've got industry that I need to get going first. Let's see. Minus 60. Ah, I forgot I may have been embargoing them. Let's see what they have to say. I will proclaim Greater Hungary. So, unlike Liechtenstein, this formable will come about. Now, I may have forgotten that I can't exactly get an air advisor, so that research may have been for nothing. Ah, it didn't tell me, but I have now received all of the Yugoslav demands, what I demanded off Yugoslavia the first time. And now I'm going to ask for West Banat to push it up to what I'm assuming will be the Danube. Don't do geography in case you couldn't tell from me playing a history game. But, I'll begin increasing the number of guns I make so I can provide them to Germany via Lend-Lease when they declare on Poland. And as a matter of fact, there goes the Czechs. We shall now begin to see the beginning of the end for world peace. All that started a while ago. Ah, I did not know this focus gave them Slovenia. And speaking of which, let's begin producing the new gun. I don't know why I set it into production, I should not have. But there we go, better gun. And that is the last air research I needed to do. I will research air-launched torpedoes, as I may make cheap torpedo bombers to try bomb out the British if I'm dragged into the war for some reason. Now, I technically have not got all the lands historically occupied by Hungary. I can still get Croatia and Dalmatia. Wow. Just wow. These are the most incompetent agents I have ever had. Oh, as a matter of fact, the war is soon coming. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact will soon be signed. And would you look at that? The more important event. No one cares about this. This is the most important event. Greater Hungary. And now we can begin working on having an industry. It feels a bit backwards, I know, but with all this land, and soon all of it being cores, we'll be able to rule all of the former Slovakian territories. I know Otto Skorzeny is successful at being able to liberate people who have been captured. So as a matter of fact, no, you can go back on, and then he can temporarily be placed in Stalingrad. And there we go. He can now move to the capital and liberate my lost friend. And I'm investing heavily into my intelligence agency, though I doubt I'll use it much beyond collaboration governments on the Soviets. And my industry could definitely have been a lot stronger if I hadn't. And would you look at that? The Axis is rather strong. Of course it will only be these two, and I doubt Italy will even join the war immediately. And speaking of the war, as a matter of fact, here we go, Danziger War. I would love for there to be a way to reclaim Croatia and Dalmatia, however, I do not believe that there is, peacefully. And I know that they'll probably be guaranteed by Romania, which I won't be able to hold a two-front war. Let's see. How long will this take? 44 days. So, yep, the war is coming soon. Very soon. And in a second, we shall see. I will have to... yeah. There we go. The beginning of World War II. And I will in fact let this speech play out. I will not join this war. I don't know why the Germans think I will. It's like they think I'm their ally or something. I would rather not go to war with, like, what I'm imagining would be something like half the world. Skorzeny can head back to Moscow to hold up the intelligence agency, and I may be civ greeding, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run, because I don't plan on going to war mainly.
What a bitter blow it is to me that all my long struggle to win peace has failed. Yet I cannot believe that there is anything more or anything different.
Stanislaw and Krakow. I always imagine Bialystok to be down south.
It would have been quite possible to have arranged
And there goes Poland. Meanwhile, we'll just continue to sit here and build up our industry. And I've made up my decision that I will, in fact, go for the better airframe before building up my air force. And that is a large army. In fact, can I... not enough world tension apparently. Not enough world tension to send my allies some guns. I have nothing better to do with my political power, so I suppose I'll just make my country slightly better and appoint someone who I may or may not use. And I never managed to use this successfully.
We have done all that any country could do to establish peace. The situation in which no word given by Germany's ruler could be trusted, and no people or country could feel itself safe, had become intolerable.
I will launch undercover air maneuvers with my air force. And that still does not take us up to enough world tension for me to lend lease weapons to the Germans, but enough for me to send an advisor, at least. No. Our attaches will be in our allies' country. Be glad that we are not at war with you. In fact, yes, I thought that would be the case. No way of sending any troops, but Operation Weserübung will be soon launched. And I'll announce the Giori program so I can begin working on my air force when it's finished researching. But for now, we may just sit and do nothing. The first section of this, or the main section of the video, is now complete. We have now achieved Greater Hungary with all the territory we can get diplomatically. And as a matter of fact, I will probably leave these speeches going as some sort of entertainment while I wait for the Germans to collapse in 5 years. I actually thought this would be a speech. It is not. Okay. Well, I guess no entertainment for me for a while until France falls. Which, I mean, is entertaining in of itself. But, oh well. Ah, that focus is always shorter than I expect. Oh, what is that logo? I have never seen that before, I don't believe. It's this one, I think. Very interesting. I did not know some of these logos were available for you to pick. And here we go, I can now begin my Lend-Lease. Let's start with about half of my rifles and half of my support equipment, half of my artillery, and half of my trains. What I'm doing is very contradictory, I know, but actually there is no but. I just feel like doing something. And the Germans are barreling into the Netherlands, and soon they will barrel down to Belgium. And I do not care for the opinion of New Zealand. And as a matter of fact, that is a lot of Rexist support in Belgium. I wonder if they had done backdoor negotiations, which I don't even think is in this branch. I think it's in the monarchist branch. Unfortunately, there goes Belgium. They'll have no doubt had the king say that if Liège, Brussels or Antwerp falls, he would surrender. So I imagine it will not be too long before they do in fact surrender. And I've probably, yep. Oh, I didn't set it to automatically. Oh no, I did. Oh, it's a 45% as well. Lovely. Sorry industry, but the intelligence agency I'm barely using is more important than you. And as a matter of fact, I've been meaning to do this for a while, because the division isn't the best. I'll go for an 18 width. And I don't believe I can add any artillery to these now. So I will just have to add it manually like this. We will produce it soon enough. After all, we will not be doing any fighting, or pretty much our army will do nothing. Ah, I forgot about this. 115 days, and it only takes 15 to do that, so I can begin going down my industrial tree better. Although, as much as I like this, I like the extra research slot normally, but for now I will do neither. No, I will go for the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Normally I believe it's better to do when you're conquering territory, like say the fall of Paris, right now. And that is the collapse of France and Rudolf Hess. We will now begin to pivot towards military industry. And I was importing my steel from France, which I do not actually need to import any of. Now comes my favourite part of the Germany experience. Sitting around and doing nothing while Italy starts off winning in Egypt. I plan on keeping a rather large army. Oh, I say rather large, it's not even 2 full armies yet. And I do not really intend to expand it much more. Ah, here we go. The speeches may once again begin. And the Bulgarians plan on going in on the Yugoslavs over Macedonia, or North Macedonia. For now, I shall research. Ah, artillery. I forgot about artillery. Rather unfortunate.
I've completed the most important part of this task. A war cabinet has been formed of 5 members, representing with the Liberal opposition.
And Skorzeny appears to have died, I guess.
Either in the war cabinet or in high executive office.
Or has been recruited by the Germans for their own intelligence agency.
In one single day, on account of the extreme a number of other key positions were filled yesterday, and I'm submitting a further list to His Majesty tonight.
I'm now going to
complete the appointment of the principal ministers during tomorrow. The appointment of the other
This should finish before that.
but I trust when Parliament meets again, this part of my task will be completed, and that the administration will be complete.
So, now it's just a waiting game. I'll come back to you when something interesting happens. Okay, so I said I'd be back when something interesting is happening, and as you can probably guess, something interesting is happening. So, as a summary of events, Romania has now joined the Axis, Denmark and Norway have fallen, and the Battle of the Atlantic is happening, and the Suez is under threat by Egypt. However, the entire Axis is now under threat from the Soviet Union, as they are, I imagine, justifying for Bessarabia and southern Bessarabia, just to peel them apart even further. If they do not surrender, which I know they will surrender. If they for some reason do not, however, I will once again not join the war and pray that the Germans collapse early, despite being their ally, as weird as that may sound. So for now, that is all, really. So, yeah, I will once again return when anything else important happens. As expected, the Soviets did indeed claim Bessarabia and southern Bessarabia, and also, as predicted, the Romanians surrendered the territories to them. I'm still working on my collab government in the background, though there's been a bit of a problem that I'm working on sorting out. But apart from that, in fact, speaking of the problem, it appears to have been fixed. I'm going to have a quick... I don't actually know the... I have nearly completed my full collab government on the Soviet Union. So, with all hope... With all hope, this may work. I do not know, nor do I mind if it fails. I have now put my new aircraft into production that I've been hyping up all game. It's just 3 heavy machine guns, 2 Model 2 engine 3, self-sealing, drop tanks and armor plates for maximum range, air attack and air defense, though the defense isn't the highest, the agility and reliability is also high, along with the production cost. But the one engine 3 is not good enough, nor is 2 engine 2s. So that's just going to have to be what it is. And will I use these planes? Probably not, actually. Well, they gained Cairo for a whole 4 seconds, something like that. But either way, the Suez Canal is now contested, yeah. Meanwhile, I'll continue to upgrade my small army, as the deficit from upgrading my template all that time ago has still not changed, I suppose. It's a decent template, I hope. 21 width. I'm not the best when it comes to template design. What are those being used in? Operations. 31 over 41 days. That will be where it is. Okay, that does not matter. I wish to see how the decryption's going. Not the best. I never normally do it. In fact, sometimes I don't even bother with agencies unless I'm invading the Soviet Union. Then I only do it for the Gulag governments. But yeah. Suppose I can upgrade my support companies now. Yep, and like always, I'll come back if anything else happens. As always, Italy's incompetence has led to the only Axis troops left in Africa being the German Africa Corps, and that is it for that continent. The Axis have pretty much secured all of Europe that matters. So I imagine soon, I'm guessing after this, we may, or the Germans may go in on the Soviets. And would you look at that, it's like I'm a magician. The Germans are now doing war with the USSR. If only I could send them expeditionary forces without being in the war. But, oh well. And I will now begin to make these. And I may even be able to provide oil, if there we go, to the Germans. As button, the majority of the Axis oil will most likely be coming from Romania, as I imagine Venezuela's. Oh no, I imagine that the Axis wouldn't be able to get oil from Venezuela, but that does not appear to be the case. Okay, stop that army training, and that one's almost done. and continue to improve our industry without having a shipping industry, because surprisingly, when you have no coast, it's hard to build a ship. We can barely get ships down in the Danube, which I believe is this river here. But it looks as though, yep, the German army is gathering along the Soviet border, as is the Romanian army. My army has been on the Soviet border for a few years, or not years, months, since the invasion of Yugoslavia happened. That could be an encirclement if the AI knew how to pull one of them. Very soon. And I'm getting bombarded with pop-ups again. I will still not withdraw my attaché from the Germans. I'm not really fighting, so I might go for tap newfound oil deposits. The sounds of silence. And of course my agent gets kidnapped as soon as I say that. As a matter of fact, I doubt it'll matter. As that is my last collab government on the Soviet Union. Now on to Britain. You too must be skilled in collaboration governments, as you've been doing them for a long while. Temporarily, you may go to Moscow to try save this agent. As a matter of fact, I have forgotten to finish upgrading my cryptology department. And would you look at that, there's red bubbles across the entire border. The German army, everybody. It is a river crossing. Oh no, this isn't a river crossing. What's the German logistics looking like? Well, they're not out of guns yet, they're out of tanks, unless you're counting light tank destroyers, which they seem to have a lot of. And I can, in fact, get a naval advisor. I was not expecting that. My game of doing absolutely nothing may come to an end faster than I imagined. Although this is looking like the Germans might know what they're doing. But we don't know yet. And they can't push there anyway, so it does not appear as though it would matter. Also, I noticed this earlier. These are now infantry divisions, not infantry brigades, unless that's what that says. Artillery? Yeah. So what's that, 13? To get 2 full armies? That's how many I'm making either way, so... I'll just have to keep an eye on this rescue operation, as I want to get the collab governments in Britain done, because entertainment, I suppose. As a matter of fact, the Romanians and Italians have entirely liberated Bessarabia. Meanwhile, the Germans have liberated, under heavy quotation marks, a bit of Poland and the Baltic. Are they American puppets now? They are. So I was partially right, they do eventually become American puppets, just not yet. I find it interesting that we'll infiltrate across a neutral border, which they say on an island, which also just so happens to be the only neutral country that the UK will border that isn't African. The Germans, the Axis have made an encirclement here, which is a decent amount of troops. Now even Ethiopia is complaining about my troops. Well, that was pointless. I suppose I can build them railways. Few and far between as they may be. It may grant them a little boost. And that signifies what will be the end of the Axis.
Members of the Senate, of the House of Representatives, yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. United States of America.
I'm just gonna start doing these focuses that just get me. Oh, in fact, sorry America, that is my agency fully completed and upgraded. Nice. Also, there's something I never mentioned. There is an achievement for here, Greater Hungary. Now, this shows that I have done Greater Hungary, but I have never done it on historical. So, if you complete this and get all this land, you will get the achievement. I don't believe you need this territory or these two. So, if you want to build a navy for some reason, go ahead. No one would believe you, but go ahead. And yeah. Where has all my steel just gone? And rubber. Ah, Japan will be taking it. Siam it is. Not that that's going to be enough, but that should keep. That should keep me going. Meanwhile, I'll begin increasing excavation. If I go to... not that. If I go to current wars and the German-Soviet War, I'm interested in knowing whether this will have any effect upon the Soviets. I believe it will. I sort of hope both it will and it won't. Alas, I don't think I can really hope that. And there's something else that I've seen recently, that the Siamese are often brought into the Greater East Asian Co-Prosperity Sphere, but then they never actually get called in. That is not good. And not historical. Because those bonuses are going to be a thorn in the side of the Germans. Alas, I can still not join. However, unfortunately for these divisions that are being trained, they, instead of going to even the front line, they immediately get to go back to training. And there we go, with the Americans now joining the Allies. This is not looking good. Yep. I know Germany will soon fall. What do these templates look like? I'll take the... and... okay. Never mind. They can instead guard my key cities. Budapest, what I'm assuming would be Bratislava, and let's see, Győr seems to also be a key city, so they can just guard them. I can see if I've got anyone worthwhile. Okay. So... my first air wing is done. My first trained air wing, which has a massive range. The advantage of the air tanks, I imagine. And Roosevelt's back.
Because the nub of the whole purpose of your president, you now, and your children later, and your grandchildren much later, out of a last-ditch war for the preservation of America.
Okay, Roosevelt, I've heard this speech a billion times. But before I unpause... right, I don't know if this will count, because I'm not in the war. But it'll be interesting to see. And there goes even more of my steel. Ah. That will be where all my steel has gone. I now realise that my steel import line was cut off. I'll import another 16 steel. And I think I just saw General Government form. Oh no, it's Legs Protectorate, Bohemian and Moravan. And some of these generals can be very interesting. Like for example, for Czech Republic, like historically, it was Konstantin von Neurenf, which, if you've played this focus tree before, you might have seen him before as this guy here. So that's just something interesting that not many people know. But for now, well, I'll continue to watch the German advance. I don't think advance is the right word. Into Russia. And see what comes out of it. And actually, you can now join. Some of these are now getting ready to join armies that aren't in training. I must admit that while the German advance is very strong, I suppose, it's still not exactly gonna win them the war. Unlike historically, where the German advance encircled large portions of the Soviet army, the AI doesn't do that. So, while the Soviets are indeed getting pushed back, massively so, they're not going to lose. And I think that's why the Germans, or the German AI, now struggles to defeat them so much. And why would that be? I dare say. Am I at max collab for Britain as well? No? My intelligence is just not good enough, I see. I'll begin going down this because it gives some nice little bonuses. I'm surprised. That was something I was wondering, and I've still got no conclusive answer, but I think that it has to be 50% in one area. Let's see. Any decisions I can take that would actually be beneficial? No. But I do need to get excavation free. There we go. The German army has hit the point where it can no longer advance as well. If that's just because the Soviets have good terrain to defend in, the fact actually the majority of their advance was over winter could have been a sign of more to come, but I doubt it. So yeah. Oh, how's the Pacific War going? Okay. There's a little trick if the AI refuses to do that. I'm gonna do it for a bit longer than necessary because okay. I think if I take this up to a positive relation, they might accept. No? normally they'd accept an attaché, except we're not in the war, so they're less inclined. Just got one more division on the way. I'm gonna skip straight to excavation 3. And now it's even the Congo that's telling us they've had enough. That's a shame for the Congo. As a matter of fact, how many planes have I got? And I've just remembered I've had these training for a very long time. But this air wing should be very competent if I was to have war declared upon me. So yeah. It appears after quite a long while that the Soviets have made a large breakthrough into German East Prussia. While Kiev has fallen, it is looking even less likely that the Germans will win this war, despite the fact I already knew they wouldn't. What I will do, it's a bit of a meta strategy, and besides, as far as I'm aware, don't control any non-core territory. I do not. It's better to be prepared in case for some reason I do come to own any non-cores. I'm still unable to do any of the Gioli program focuses because I haven't. Oh wow, I bet not Tanatuva. I better accept, or else they will I can't keep that up. And I've just thought Tanatuva is a little known country, and it is right here next to Mongolia. Even the event of this here, when Tanatuva accepts, everyone gets a message saying they've been annexed, and it says, Tanu what? So, if you don't know what Tanatuva is, I wouldn't blame you. And I can't be sure, but I imagine the AIs made the classic blunder of not garrisoning Crimea because your front line breaks there whenever you pass it for some odd reason. But I've been lend-leasing the Germans for a bit, so I just want them to be able to keep afloat for a bit longer. I think they may actually have deployed the fighters that I sent them. Either that or I'm going to look on the international market and they're going to be there. I do actually have fighter subsidies. I'm actually rather surprised at that. Now, I will most likely not build any nukes throughout this game, but better to have them. And actually, there goes Operation Torch. But it is not looking good for the Germans on this Romanian section. Red bubbles along the entire border apart from Crimea. They've managed to encircle the Soviet salient in East Prussia and ensure that they're safe there. And now I can finally tap on newfound oil deposits after years of finding them. I can also begin sending out a lend lease of all of my trucks as I don't use them. I don't know how many I make monthly, but that should cover it. I don't know why I selected that. I'm never building a navy as Hungary. It's one a day. I imagine it can't take me into deficit. I say it as it does in fact take me into deficit. Okay, never mind. Cancel that. I suppose I now have to find a way to get me out of this deficit. Well, actually, the deficit's not as bad as I thought it would be, as it doesn't exist. And I haven't actually looked at my collab governments for Britain. They're doing decently well. Let's get him saved. I am unsure of where all these decisions I can take are. And I've left music on, it seems. Let's put an end to that, as it just gives me something to do while I stare into the nothingness that is this game. And another air doctrine that I will never use. I could probably increase that slightly. Send them slightly more support equipment. They're now breaking even on support equipment, actually. And I will send them once 129 trucks and 55 Strausslers. And sure, 50 of them. As the German logistics, as we've just seen, is not looking the best. In fact, it is looking very bad. And when I started a minute ago, I must admit, the Germans have advanced again quite well. And it is interesting that this has again happened, because he's no longer one of my agents. I will still not relieve my agent of service. As a matter of fact, I was meant to, quite a while ago, be sending one to Japan, which I can. Okay, let's see what they're dealing with. They're not the best, island-wise. Or they're better. They're doing decently well island-wise. Although I think they start with the Marshall Islands, do they not? Yes, they do. Do they? Honestly, I think it's they start with them. Well, what they definitely do start with is the Caroline Islands. Actually, it'll tell me here. Oh no, Japan. Maybe not as well as I first thought. But hey, at least they're doing better than... oh wait, there's been a D-Day, and they've been forced off a port. Never mind, the 15th Infantry, you're not pulling a Tobruk on the Germans. Oh, Sicily's fallen. I haven't actually even looked at the Italians. Unfortunately, all my light tanks just went to Germany, so... Unless it's not been sent yet. What's your light tank? Yeah, they've got a worse light tank deficit. Sorry, Italy. Your incompetence is going to be your downfall. Like in real life. I've been staring at this war screen for quite a while, and I've decided that I think the collab government I have on the Soviets is definitely helping. As they, in all actuality, haven't lost too much compared to the territory they actually have as a whole. So I think the collab government is working. And if they could close off that encirclement, that would be deadly for the Soviets. Anyway, casualties wise, the Germans have suffered 6 million, the Soviets 4, the UK 600k, and anyone majorly in the Allies lost a lot of people? 2 million total. US, only 80k. Casualties. Yep, the UK's lost the most. Yep, that would total to roughly about 2 mil. Whereas, if I go to casualties... And I've messed up the war screen. Let's just not look at that again. This could be a deadly encirclement for the Soviets if the AI could pull that off. Never tried armoured cars before. I'll just build up a factory quickly to get onto it. It's apparently a good... It is apparently a good template for garrison. So if I have caps lock on, that's why. If I can spell. Garrison. And replace these all with, what does armoured car fall under? Ah, it's there. No, okay. Let's try it with this template instead. How's their suppression? 14. I'll take it. Besides, if I'm to have tanks, which I did start researching but never finished, Like the sentence apparently. Suppression 2.5. Does suppression change? It does not. Okay, so I don't believe there's any reason for me to continue researching better armoured cars. Let's switch that to that. Do I have a deficit? No. Good start. Provides a decent amount of garrison, yeah. And I can get another naval doctrine. Just with all this coastline I have. And I'll send the Germans another 63 of my fighters. I want to have a look, see if I can find them. Where are they? I don't know. I swear though, if they're on the international market again. I say again. They've never been on the international market. Ah, Bulgaria. What a name for that bomber of yours. Bomber. Meanwhile, let's continue to make our army better. I suppose I should award army promotions. Why this is a national focus, I'll never know. But, yep, it looks like the Germans are withstanding the Soviet advance, but can't pull this in circle. Oh, actually, wait. The encirclement has been pulled. It's a lot less than it could have been. But that is still a decent amount. Let's see here. 7, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20. I count 20 Soviet divisions encircled. And as long as they can hold the encirclement. Yeah, it looks like it's over for that, what is effectively an entire Soviet army. Although, knowing the AI, that's probably about 30 separate armies. That's not possible. 20 separate armies. It appears I may have been a bit too focused on the Eastern Front, as Operation Market Garden appears to have happened and gone successfully. So maybe this run can begin to come to an end. Although looking at the amount of divisions here, I doubt it. This is pretty much every Axis army spared from the Eastern Front. In fact, I reckon there's divisions coming from the Eastern Front to help with it. Also, the Soviets are pushing back, I reckon. See if I can get an attaché to the Romanians who hold the remaining part of the front line. Yeah, they can't even garrison the entire front line. They may be able to strike southwards and encircle around Rostov, though with how the rest of the front's looking, I doubt it. They've been pushed back to defensive lines around Latvia and there. And let's have a look at how close they were to capitulation. I reckon what will be their largest gains. Although we seem to be unable to push out the Allies here. It's possible that because of their numbers, we're just unable to. But we shall see. Because that's... Oh my god, that's 70 divisions on one tile. Wow. I have never seen that many divisions on a tile. And I have played this game for a long time. This entire section of the Romanian front line could be encircled relatively easily considering the lack of troops there. Just like real life. Who's ready for having zero industry? Ah. Does this affect my allies? I'm hoping this will give the Germans a kick up the rear, but I doubt it. I think they're too far gone by this point. Let me guess. Marshall, Marshall, Marshall. That's what happened to me in my last attempt, as a matter of fact. But nope, for once I picked all the generals that stay generals. And I can finally get some people in here. And thinking about it, I'm fine on political power for now. The stability was the best part he gave. Same for him, I've got enough political power and unaligned support. Or non-aligned support as everyone else calls it. And I'm building refineries, so I'll keep that. And I want the stability. Let's see. It looks like I can get the next piece of artillery piece researched. Yeah, the Romanian line is crumbling. The Germans are holding the front line the main front line relatively well, and are holding against the Allied advice, though Allied lines. Allied advance, there we go. But they have left Leeuwarden with no one in it, which could have been dreadful for the Axis. And sorry, but I think I misplaced the telegram asking me to join, because no, I'm not. You can have another air wing though. What is their fighter logistics actually like? They have a decent amount of fighters. They even have some Gloucester Gladiators stored. And a lot of BF-109s. And while they're good, they're nowhere near as good as the fighters I've designed for them. Am I biased? Absolutely. Oh, and now even Yunnan's complaining because I sent one to Japan. Speaking of Japan, how is Japan? I see. Do the Chinese know they could probably push? Also, what did the Japanese do at Wuhan? Why is it burning? I mean in this game, not in... I don't mean what did they do in real life in Wuhan, because that I do know. And that I do not wish to share. Especially on a platform that can be like YouTubers. And I can finally do my Huber 1 program. After about a few years that have passed since I've done it. The Soviets are advancing. Interesting. either way, finally, hopefully, the Allies can now advance. This is going to take my brain a minute to comprehend properly, because normally red is bad, but this time I want to see red. Well, no, that's not in that context. I wonder if this is what Eisenhower planned with Operation Market Garden. And I've forgotten about these again. I always forget about these. Maybe I can get more than one air wing out of my fighters now. I've just sent so many to the Germans. Speaking of which, have they arrived? They have. The fall of Rome. Oh wow. Italy is now collapsing. The Allies are advancing into Germany proper. And are only now invading it. I say only now. Right. Looks like the British are taking control of the Middle East. And leaving no room for argument. Horthy will soon see why not joining the war was to his benefit, was to the country's benefit. It's a matter of fact. Westphalen. They can't seem to push into the rest of Belgium. And I still can't do anything yet. I can tap into the Derna oil fields when I've got excavation 4, which I'm not even. Oh no, I am doing construction 4, which I've just got to wait a bit longer for. Comedy. Please laugh. You know, as we're closing on to 1944, I should probably begin research. Oh, I should probably begin research on my next plane. And there goes Italy. And so it begins. I mean, it began a while ago. Oh, I had not even seen this Soviet advance. Wow, that was bad. That was really bad. Or for the Axis, so it's your choice if it's actually bad. And I've been supplying the Germans this whole time with a large amount of everything. You know, Germany, you could like do something to get more allies. Like alliance with Spain and Portugal. Or reintegrate Alsace-Lorraine and Luxembourg. Ooh. But that was an allied advance I just saw. In fact, I'm gonna skip straight onto this now. What is my aircraft actually using? It's using UFAG, okay. That's odd, it should show that. Oh, it's just the model itself can be upgraded, I see. Either way, UFAG. This is not looking too good for the Germans. Oh, the socialists have risen up in Bulgaria. The Axis is falling apart now. It's only a matter of time before the Axis collapses. Not good. And before someone shoots himself in the head. Commits game end? I don't know YouTube's guidelines on mentioning that. To be fair, I don't know YouTube's guidelines on this guy at all. World's first radar network. Let's go. Oh, Romania has fallen. A small Australian naval invasion in Greece has been launched that didn't go as badly as, say, is it here somewhere? Let me see. Where's the Dardanelles? There. Yeah. That didn't go as bad as when they landed there in Gallipoli during the previous war. This is not looking good for my faction. It is a shame that I'm not in the war. It's like I predicted this would happen. Which I definitely did not. Just don't go back in the video to check. I promise I didn't. The Germans still have a lot of resources at their disposal. Oh my god, I did not notice this. The Soviets even encircled the Germans and can't take out that division. Oh no. My brain is still not. Oh, we've even got a little Courland pocket. Though, yeah, it will have been there. That was not what I meant to click away. I suppose while there's still while the Axis Italy still exists, I suppose I should probably get the Fiat Tankettes, famous for their... You know what, I'm not going to say what they're famous for, because otherwise I wouldn't be taking them. We have now received an actual D-Day landing on the beaches of Normandy. And now I'll have a look and see what I need. So, it's possible that I will receive the achievement when the Germans capitulate. I'm hoping so, otherwise all this extra time will have been for nothing. However, it's been fun just trying to support the Germans, though awful they may be. Let's just send as much as possible to them. This is just basically an emergency arms sale. And maybe organise their retreat. though I unfortunately doubt that will happen. You know what? I doubt I've got much else to research. Oh no, I have concentrated 5 and construction 5. And my radar network is actually done. Almost. I suppose I can get one of those set up. That's convenient. Sure, basic fortifications. Maybe that way I can actually do something with my land warfare facility that I'm actually going to use. Because I'm not making them. And by them I mean the super heavy howitzers. Sure. I'll do those. You know, I think it's finally time I promote increased immigration, urbanization. I'm not using that, but I suppose having a tank designer is better than having no tank designer. The Turan. Where is the Turan? There. I will not be getting that, it seems, as I went for expands the Hornvedes. I'm not gonna go any further there. I suppose I can turn this country into a fort now. Right, what do we tell the taxpayers? We're doing this to keep you safe from the communist menace? Sure, that'll do. I'm sure that excuse would never have historically been used. Looking at you, 1950s America. I don't suppose it would be 1950s as such, maybe Cold War America. The Germans are actually doing reasonably well, though. I imagine the majority of their remaining factories will be in like France and whatnot. Yeah, that looks to be the case. And that is a massive Regno del Sud. It looks as though that's who Vichy France capitulated to. Oh, could that be the fall of Bordeaux? It's looking like it will be. Yep. Unless, yep, the fall of Bordeaux has occurred as well. That's going to even further lower the Germans' factory number. Actually, I think it increased. Not that they have much territory left, mind. Their last cause will be here in Vienna, but because of the fact that I'm not in the war, not only will the Allies and Soviets have to leave a bit of an army on me, they've also got to go all the way around me. But all Italian remnants in Yugoslavia are being destroyed. And the I might as well just say remaining Axis pockets, really. You know what, I've never done rocket artillery before, and it's not like I'm gonna do it this time. Just gives me something to research. I'm surprised I have not incurred an embargo as of yet. by the Allies. I withdrew my guy from... Oh wow, Germany... can I take over yet? They do not have 179 factories. They don't, they have 119. And even then, I'm surprised they have that many. I mean, Vienna's got to have a bit... Yeah, Vienna's got quite a lot of their remaining mills. Is Paris back? No, Paris is still under German occupation. But my guess will be not for long. Orleans has fallen. I mean, technically these aren't in circle. They can withdraw across my border. These guys unfortunately are, and that is a massive section of Axis forces. Also, Netherlands gotta have a massive industry now. Yeah, 108. That's nearly the size of Italy without their capital. The liberation of Paris. It truly is the beginning of the end for Germany. Where even is their capital? Wow. No way. They can hold out against a single tank division and cavalry division. We're gonna get pushed there. The Allied Axis borders are gonna... Allied Soviet borders are gonna meet up again soon. Oh wow, they're still fighting over these places in the Benelux. They've been doing that since they landed. Also, is that on me? It is. How dare they? I'm an independent nation. Oh wait, we are talking about Britain. They're probably going to try colonize me. I can't talk, I'm British. Oh. Hello. And there we go. Assuming direct control. I hope it's actually there and I don't look stupid. Oh wow. The Soviets got everything. Wow. The Allies got what? 1, 2, 3 tiles. Oh no, I think they'll have got access to these as well. But oh my god, the Allies got massively hit by this. But yep, that's the achievement. The Axis is now only in Hungary. So that is this video drawing to a close. I'd like to thank anyone who's watched up to this point, as it's no doubt going to be a long video and I've still yet to do any editing, and I imagine it's not going to be the most exciting of videos watching me do nothing, but either way, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, please. There's no point hitting the notification bell. My upload schedule is pretty much non-existent, so thank you and goodbye.